If Jesus never existed, would the world be more peaceful or less human? Tonight we're opening a file that probably would have gotten us burned at the stake. Thanks for joining me on this one. Let's clear something up. We're not asking whether Jesus was divine, walked on water, or turned your cousin's wine into a party. This is a thought exercise. What if he never existed at all? No Bethlehem, no manger, no wandering preacher from Galilee. Think of it like deleting a core file from history's operating system. Gone are the Gospels, the Apostles, the crucifixion. But more importantly, gone is the rising movement that followed. Christianity, which means no Catholic Church, no Protestant Reformation, no Crusades, but also no colonial missionaries, no martyrs, no Vatican. Suddenly you've unplugged a global institution that shaped economies, borders, politics, and belief systems for the past 2 millennia. Historically, most scholars agree that regardless of divinity, Jesus the man likely existed, but humour us for a second. If he didn't, the Roman Empire might have looked east, toward Mithraism or traditional paganism. Judaism might have evolved differently. Post-Roman Europe would lack a unifying moral doctrine, and timelines for everything from the Gregorian calendar to the Dark Ages might have shifted wildly. So tonight we're not erasing a religion, we're flipping the power off on an entire alternate timeline. Without Jesus, and by extension Christianity, we lose one of the largest moral scaffolding systems in Western history. Love thy neighbour, turn the other cheek, forgive others not 7 but 70 times. These weren't exactly Roman values. Without that influence, Western ethical philosophy faces a huge delay. Think about it. The Christian interpretation of compassion, humility, and even the protection of the poor underpinned centuries of thought. Not just sermons, laws, education, healthcare. Sure, civilizations have moral codes, but Christianity normalized self-sacrifice and charity in a way that reshaped post-Roman Europe. Philosopher Charles Taylor argues that Western morality rides on Christian rails, even for secular people. Imagine a society where morality evolves from warrior codes, pagan survivalism, or imperial honor, rather than personal empathy. It's not impossible, but it sure looks different. Maybe more stoicism, less softness, less St. Francis, more Caesar. It wouldn't be evil, just colder. And certainly psychology, especially the modern sense of identity and guilt, would look different without the idea that our moral compass is internal, forever watched and eternally judged. Here's where things get weirdly better, maybe. Without the Church's historic grip on science, and its infamous silences and suppressions, things like astronomy, medicine, and evolutionary biology might have hit the gas pedal earlier. Don't get me wrong, Christianity did preserve knowledge. Monks were basically the world's librarians for centuries, but they also burned heretical texts, suppressed dangerous thinkers, and dragged out Galileo for daring to say the Earth wasn't the universe's prom king. In this hypothetical world, ancient Greek science might have thrived longer. Eastern philosophies might have moved west faster. Imagine Confucianism meeting Stoicism, meeting early algebra, more synergy, less censorship. On the other hand, religion also channeled chaos during collapse. Without monasteries and cathedrals during the Dark Ages, there's a real shot we tumble into a deeper, longer intellectual void. So yeah, less dogma, but maybe more entropy. Knowledge has more room to grow, but less protection from the noise of collapse. If Jesus never existed, someone else would have filled that vacuum. Power abhors a void. Without the Church to unify kingdoms under a semi-shared moral doctrine, you get fractured timelines. Maybe Islam spreads further west, maybe Norse mythology sticks around. or Roman imperialism mutates into strange hybridized cults where emperors are worshipped as gods. Gnosticism, Zoroastrianism, and even Egyptian deities might fight for dominance. But none of them had the same mass marketing game Christianity played. No fish symbol, no wine and bread trick, and definitely no Renaissance art campaign. Meanwhile, politics would shift. No Holy Roman Empire, no papal influence over crowning kings. Entire wars, like the Crusades, Inquisition and Reformation, never happen. Others, like Muslim-Christian conflicts, totally restructured. It's a geopolitical game of dominoes, and without that one starting piece, the board realigns in eerie ways, maybe smoother in some eras, bloodier in others, but definitely stranger. Let's talk humans, because if history proves anything, it's that we crave narratives about purpose, redemption, and someone watching us from the clouds when we cry alone at 3 a.m. Even without Jesus, humans would have invented someone like him. Not identical, maybe not even from the same region, but some figure who offers hope in exchange for faith. Carl Jung called this the archetype of the saviour, and he claimed it showed up in cultures from Persia to Mesoamerica. We don't just want visions, we build them. Maybe we end up worshipping Socrates, Buddha, or even a deified Caesar. Or maybe religions fracture permanently and nationalism becomes the new god. Not necessarily better, definitely not calmer. From a psychological angle, removing Jesus doesn't erase faith, it just changes what we put it in. And faith? It's like water. It fills every crack of the human condition. So even in a world without Christ, something would rise to take his shape. And maybe that's even scarier. Whether divine or not, one person's absence could have changed everything. If you made it this far, you're basically a time traveller. Like, subscribe, and come back tomorrow night. There's a new file tucked away here every weeknight. That was your dose of the unknown. See you in the next file. Subscribe for more of the unknown.